Hi there. Thanks for joining me for another quick and easy watercolor painting. I'm Rod Bergeron, and today we're going to be doing a little bit of line and wash. And this is sort of from a recent trip that I did in Northern Ontario. This is a Sharpie pen that I'm working with here. And make sure it says pen on it, okay? It's a lot more color fast when it says pen on it. And I'm just drawing some sort of spindly little pine trees. I'm going to put a few branches. Most of these pine trees in Northern Ontario have, only a very few branches, and most of them are up near the top. So I'm just going to draw those in, and all I'm doing is I'm going over the tree maybe twice, like the trunk part, like twice. And I'm going to put a little bit of just some scrub grass sort of over here, maybe some reeds. I kind of want to make this like a shoreline across here, and there's going to be a closer shoreline to us. Okay, I don't know what that is right there, but let's knock it off. Okay, all right. So we're going to paint this sky blue. So the thing about Sharpie pen is it's pretty color fast. Now that might bleed a little bit on us, but not too much. All right, so we're going to put some water on here. You see just those couple of seconds, that has all pretty much, I'm not going to say it's 100% hasn't bled, but the majority of it has not bled. So we're going to put our water all across the bottom here. So if you see, when you use a big 3/4 inch brush, you really only need that one brush full of water to wet that whole top. This page is 6 inches by 4.5 inches. Okay, so that one brush full of water has wet that whole top section there. And I'm just going to grab a whole bunch of this blue. This is ultramarine. And I'm going to put a couple of streaks of blue like that, and like that, and like that. And we're just going to let that all bleed together. And whatever happens to it, happens to it. All right, rinse that brush out. I'm going to pick up some Payne's Gray, a little bit of a light wash here. And I'm just going to paint across these stones, these rocks. And we're trying to make it not be unified color, okay? So we're trying to make the wash sort of wonky. So leave some white spots, leave some white area, some area that you're not quite gone over. Don't worry about, making it into a very smooth wash. That's not what we're going for here, okay? I'm going for a little bit of a tree line in the back here. So I'm going to sort of tap this brush onto here and get a little bit of that Payne's Gray bleeding off into that blue sky. Okay, so now we have this Payne's Gray across here, Payne's Gray across the front. I'm going to take this brush and touch it into the Payne's Gray and just up the saturation level a little bit in a few places here, just like that. And don't try to augment this too much. Don't go in there and try to, move it around. This is Impressionism. So, we're trying to create the impression of a forest. We're not trying to draw in every stone. Okay, so that's all working pretty good for us. I want to put a little bit of yellow ochre across here because this is a area where there's a lot of scrubland in this part of Northern Ontario. So you don't really get a lot of even kind of growth. And I'm going to put a little bit of this across here. Maybe a little bit more intensely put this across here. That's all turning out pretty good across there. That's what we're going for. Okay, so you see that little puddle of blue across the top there? We don't really want that, so I'm going to I'm going to rinse off my brush, I should say. So I rinsed off my brush, and I have here a piece of paper towel. I'm just going to touch this brush onto this paper towel and dry most of the water off of it. So this would now be considered a thirsty brush, which means it will extract a lot of water for us. And I'm just going to slide that across the top there like that. And you see that's all, that just disappears instantly. And rinse my brush off. And that's pretty much gone there, which is what we're going for. I'm gonna take this brush, which is a 1/4 inch flat brush. Now you don't have to use a 1/4 inch flat brush. You could use any brush for this, but I'm picking up a little bit of this Payne's gray wash, and this is just going to go into a few places at the top of these trees. Okay, so we're just gonna tap that on to release the paint. Just trying to release the paint into that. This is a very light wash, as you can see. So these are pine trees that we're just trying to put a few, just a very, very few clumps of pine at the top there. And that's all we're pretty much going for right there. I'm gonna pick up some of this green with this brush, and this is sap green. Sap green is the green I use most of the time because it's sort of in the middle of the color wheel for green. If I add blue to it, I can darken it. And if I add yellow to it, I can lighten it. It's pretty light already, so there's not many times that you really need to lighten it. All right, I'm gonna put a little bit of this green into that tree line back there, just like that. And this is a little bit too straight. All right, that's turned out pretty good. And you see how those trees are turning into those spindly little trees? That's what we're going for. All right, we need some sienna in this. So this is just gonna go in a few places like that. All right, cool. Okay, so we want to create this into like water or into a field, or however it is that you might think of it. So what we really need to do is just, that was a little too straight for me, so just changing it a little bit. It's still a little straight, isn't it? Yeah, that's a little better. Okay, so we're going to make this into water, so we need to drag our brush from one side to the other, and we're going to use Payne's gray for this in a very light wash, but we want to go from one side to the other, okay? And I'm just going to put my brush into the water, pick up a little bit of this Payne's gray. It's not quite, this is more of what I'm looking for. So I just want to go from one side straight across to the other. And so practice it. Think about how it is you're going to turn your brush to get through those little cracks, all right? Just like that. And you see how that color instantly popped down out of there? That's perfectly fine. That's what we're going for. Don't try to augment that too much. I'm going to take that little brush again, and I'm going to pump up the saturation level of this, and a little bit across here, and a little bit here, and maybe a little bit more in there. All right, I'm going back to this is my scribing tool. So this is a #1 round watercolor brush, but I've sharpened the one end with a utility knife. Okay, so we're just gonna draw through some of that, create some brush down here for us. Same with this. All right, and now we're gonna do sort of the same thing, but we're gonna do it with some yellow ochre. And pick up some yellow ochre, very, very intense yellow ochre, right off the pan. That's turned out pretty cool back across there, kind of like that. And then I'm going to take this, draw this through this yellow ochre. Same down here. Okay, that's turned out pretty good. I really like what's happening in those trees right there. I think this tree right here could use a little bit more Payne's gray to it. I'm just going to make it a little bit darker. bit darker again. That's pretty good. All right, so there's a few places that I think we could use some darkness across the bottom here. I kind of like this little white area right there. That's not too bad. I'm just gonna let that all bleed. One last thing here. I got some salt. Drop some salt in a few places. Just like that. Maybe even put a little bit of salt in some of those trees. See what happens. I just think of every painting as an experiment. All right, so I'm just dropping stuff in there and seeing what happens. If something good happens, something good happens. If something not good happens, then you learn a lesson. That's turned out pretty cool. All right, let's let this dry and see what we get. All right, let's check this out. Look at this color mixing that we have in the background back here. This green, the sienna, the yellow ochre, all of this. Look what's happened here with the salt. This is pretty cool across here. Look at, we had these rocks and, you know, with the little bit of line that's going in there. Now, I don't know if it ever turned into the shoreline that I was talking about, but it's still pretty cool painting. Put this on here. Yeah, that's all right. I kind of really like what's happening down here across here with all this color mixing across here. You could darken these up a little bit or lighten them up a little bit depending upon what it is that you're thinking about. But yeah, I think this painting turned out all right. Let me know what you think of it in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you. If you got a question or a comment, please leave it in the comments section. Thanks a lot for watching, and I appreciate it. See you again next time. I want to hang around for a minute. I'm going to put some more line on here and see what we get. Maybe create a little bit more sort of shrubland across here. That's pretty cool. You could even go up through here and put in a few more sort of, you know, branches going through here. This could be a little bit darker too. And just flick with your pen at the end like that to get a little bit of a sharper point. This could be more rock across here, I guess. A little bit more rocky-like. Something like that. All right, let's put our mat on here and see what we get. Yeah, I think that pen was a good addition. A few lines here and there. All right, thanks a lot for watching today. See you again.